I know how quickly this can turn. And if the Democrats and Senator Warren, I heard him yesterday, and I was very happy that he came out and spoke as fiercely as he did. But we have got to shake off this polite Democrat thing and get angry and speak out and do something.
If you lose the science that they're trying to dispose of right now, you have lost that science for generations. There are scientists now whose work has taken 20, 30 years to develop. They're going to be flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, we'll get there. She'll be fine with them.
I don't think I know.
All right.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, dog.
All right, I need people to come in, and I need someone to, people can come in. Please. I'm just asking someone to hold the door. And can somebody do my live?
Morning.
Hey, good
I
morning.
know you guys are swamped today, and for the next, several years. My name is Jen Stroger. I'm from Goochland. I'm the co-chair of the Goochland Democratic Committee. I'm also with the NAACP and some other organizations. Indivisible is the group that kind of put this idea together. And so we are gathered here. Initially, it was because of the vote. After 48 hours have elapsed, this is way more than that. This is about not complying with anything that the Trump team is trying to do until we get our country back. This is a coup. It's a constitutional crisis, and we're here in support of our senators and all of our legislators to see them stand up. We want them, there's our little list of demands: deny quorums, block unanimous consent, max out debate time, delay and disrupt, and blanket opposition to everything. We have people in our Treasury Department, all of our numbers, all of our accounts are at risk.
Personal data.
A personal data breach. And I'm just going to read this one little thing that I wrote this morning. I had a million shirts to wear. I'm wearing this one, which is, I love trans folks with all my being. If we do not defend the least among us, then we are all trans kids waiting for our school boards to deny us access to education and health care. So let me see. I wrote this really, really quick, and then other people have smarter things to say. All right. Without this country and without the rule of law, the separation of powers, we are all undocumented immigrants. We are all trans kids in an unfriendly home. This is it. Either we are willing to stand up and put ourselves on the line, or we are giving up. And we will all know how it feels to have ICE pounding at our door in the middle of the night. We are asking our senators, stop sending emails asking for money. Send an email every day in the manner of Heather Cox Richardson. Let us know every single day what you've done every single day to protect us so that we can spread the word and build momentum. We have your back. We need you to lead, and to lead in a way that's obvious and visible and explained. We are counting on you to make it through this. You can count on us. All right, anything from the senators, and then there are a couple other people that would like to say.
No, I just want to hear from you guys.
Okay, well, what is Senator Warner doing to push back against this? Does he understand this is a constitutional crisis? Does he understand the gravity of the data breach with having an immigrant in charge of our treasury?
Yeah, he absolutely does, especially because of the work that he's done. He's now vice chair of the Intel Committee, but because of all the work that he's on the Intel Committee, he absolutely knows how important data security is, especially when it's, just the data security of everyday Americans who have interacted with the government in some form, to have all of their information at the hands of someone not elected, someone that's kicking out the civil servants who know how to do this stuff. I know he's put out statements opposing that, and I know he's planning on voting no on Vought and some of the other nominees as well.
We need him to vote no on everyone until this man is stopped. None of these nominees are capable. They are not the best people. They are designed to destroy our government. None of them should get through.
Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Miller. I'm a constituent. I've lobbied the senators frequently about my concerns for women's rights, about the environment, but this is a 5-alarm fire. What is happening is a coup. and Congress must reassert its control of the purse, or they are complicit in the coup. I'm asking you not to confirm Russell Vought and not to confirm anybody else and not to do any business in the Senate until the folks that have invaded the Treasury digital system and caused the greatest breach of personal data in the United States ever, my personal data, all of our personal data, I need them to use all congressional tools to slow down all confirmations until the coup stops. Personally, I think there should be a citizen's arrest of Elon Musk and his team immediately. We need to restore the balance of power in our government, which is of the people, by the people, and for the people. Your constituents are directly harmed by what has happened already. You need to defend the Constitution. No excuses.
I think it's important to recognize we know that they own the major branches of government. We know they have the executive, the congressional, and the SCOTUS in their pocket. What that says is they have legitimate ways of addressing each and every concern that they're bypassing. They're choosing to bypass these legitimate approaches and just go straight for these illegal takeovers. And our message to them needs to be, go through the injunctions, stop these illegal actions, go through the regular process that we have. We voted for legislators for a reason, for them to do the work, not to be bypassed. So that's our opportunity, is to make them follow the law. They may have the majority, they may be able to do it legally. I'm ready to obey that because I'm an American citizen, but they are not allowed to do it illegally. They're not allowed to go in and just take over because they feel like it.
Yeah. Amen. I would like to see more press conferences that refute every lie that Trump puts out. Mm-hmm. I mean, he says he won against Mexico and Canada. Mm-hmm. These things were in place before he made his threats, and those things really need to be out there.
I'd like to speak as a mental health professional. I'm an LCSW. Living in this state of chaos and fear obviously is terrible for everybody's mental health. When our leaders stand up and take a very firm stand and are very clear that it's wrong and that they will act, it really helps.
I would just like to say I'm so proud of our two senators. I'm glad we have them, but I was so disappointed when they voted for Bessemer or whatever his name is. I was shocked because it wasn't necessary. Why would they vote for these people? They are so incompetent. I just can't believe they did it.
It's giving an inch, like giving inches here and there with different appointees, and when people kind of skirt different rules or they find some type of backdoor way to get around them, it's like there's not enough heat being called to the attention. And I think that's one of the biggest things that concerns me is it doesn't seem to be feverishly done. Like, it doesn't seem like people are angry or like they see really the distress that's going on with people. I feel like it's still a formal, polite conversation, and the other side is not looking at it like a formal, polite conversation. And like even things to be done, it doesn't all have to be, I guess, like, legislative. Can't there be some advice to those people like who've been given offers to leave their jobs, to say, hey, here's maybe what you can do. Maybe you should stay. Encourage more like people to fight that are already in position to do so.
What's anybody doing against the firing of the inspector generals, which was also completely illegal? I mean, is that something Senator Warner is working on? I mean, it's not his.
He has been working on that, and also on the federal employees who were given, kind of suspect offers to quit. Sorry. Senator Warner and Senator Kaine both put out statements urging these civil servants to not quit because, Trump said that they would get some sort of severance payment, but Senator Warner and Kaine both said that, obviously, as we all know, Trump has a track record of not paying people that work for him every federal federal government employee now works for him, he's probably not going to pay them. So they both put out statements recommending that these civil servants stay in their jobs because they're probably not going to get that severance payment.
May I? Yeah, my name is Vicki Roberts. I'm a human rights advocate, and this is my biggest concern right now, is that I'm not hearing anything about that. And I really need for our senators, our Congress, to start to speak up about what's happening with human rights. This is a human rights crisis, is what we're in right now. And I don't know how we can get that across to not just here in the United States, but worldwide. What was done with U.S. aid is criminal. This cannot happen. I have traveled all over this world. I have been in every conflict since Bosnia, okay? I know what war can do. I grew up in Germany. I've been to death camps. I've been to Dachau. I know how quickly this can turn. And if the Democrats and Senator Warren, I heard him yesterday, and I was very happy that he came out and spoke as fiercely as he did. But we have got to shake off this polite Democrat thing and get angry and speak out and do something. Something has to be done. Our elected officials, they took their time, and I understand that because Trump's MO is to throw a lot of garbage at us and for us to get confused and not understand what's going on. He is running a game on us, okay? I lived in New York City for almost 40 years. I lived in the same building as his second wife, Marla Maples. I have been at events with this man. One of my dearest friends in the world is E. Jean Carroll, okay? Her husband, John Johnson, is an even better friend, okay? Her ex-husband. I know what this man has done. I am ashamed of the American people that voted for this man and voted him into office. I am purely ashamed. I'm ashamed of women for women's rights that have gone against everything that we have worked hard fought for, okay? I am a 70-year-old woman. I have seen what happens when we don't have control over our bodies. And not only here, but this is happening worldwide. We need to wake up and understand that people are demonstrating in the streets in Germany against Elon Musk. And all this stuff is coming together, and I know that I've covered a lot of things, but one thing we have to remember is this man is running a game, okay? He's throwing crap out there so we get confused. We need to, and I understand what the Senate is doing and what Congress is doing. They want to come out organized, and they want to know that this is the issue that we're dealing with right now, because it can get real crazy if they don't. I understand that. But they need to touch on everything. Yeah. They need to let the American people know. Senator Warren must let his constituents know that he has our back and he understands what each and every one of us are going through, and that how this is a human rights crisis with this thing. People don't understand. U.S. aid is what we call soft democracy, okay?
Soft power.
We have to have that. I have lived all over this world. People in this world hate Americans. They hate us, okay? They misunderstand us. It has taken hard work for them to understand that we appreciate them too. How do you think the Canadians feel today? Okay? This is a problem that can last for generations to come. If we here today, and every American that believes in democracy and human rights does not get together and find your role and do something. Here.
Going back to the thing I was saying about the ousting of the people in the federal government, who's going to replace those people? Obviously, it's going to be people that are going to be supremely loyal and willing to follow directions and whatever, and not really think about the whys or the people behind certain things. And I just think that once that's in place, much like he did with federal judges the first time around, like it was like 130 whatever some odd federal judges that he appointed, that's going to last a while. So it's like, that's why you can't give on anything now.
One thing that hasn't been addressed is trans kids, trans adults, and
I have several friends with trans kids, and they're frightened. I'm frightened for them. What is being done to that community is atrocious, and I really need people to support them as well, because they are in danger of big things if we continue the way we're going.
Absolutely.
And I have last thing to say is, if you lose the science that they're trying to dispose of right now, you have lost that science for generations.
Yeah.
There are scientists now whose work has taken 20, 30 years to develop. They're going to be flushed down the toilet. That's going to diminish American science throughout the world. It's going to put us back to square one on things like the opioid crisis and on many areas of science. We've got to have the focus on science and make sure that these areas of study do not get trashed.
I think this is a great start, and if our politicians aren't getting angry, then we need to. And this is a good start. Hopefully next time there will be even more and more people. And it's time to get angry. Put the politeness aside.
I'm in agreement. Because this is about democracy. Above all else, we're losing they're censoring our communications. They've taken over that. They're trying to mess with public education. They're messing with trans, black people, other races.
Latino.
I want to see something. I don't want to hear the politeness anymore. I need to see some action. And I need to see some stalemating. Use whatever power they have, use it. Now is the time to use it.
After the first Trump election, white women stood around saying, what is this feeling I have? Nobody's protecting me.
Oh, I know that feeling.
That's right.
I've always known that feeling. I need to do something about it.
What we are beginning to feel a little bit is what it feels like, again, to be a trans kid in a public school in Red, Virginia right now. And it's a tiny, tiny little taste. And I hope we use that fear and icky feeling of not being protected anymore as, the white people in the room to get angry and get arrested and put your body on the line, because this is
This is how tyranny starts.
That's right.
People or the Latino people or the immigrants.
Listening to us, and hope that he's able to respond to us and let us know how he's going to move forward with some of these ideas.
Right.
If I could just say one more thing, it would be, I am quite certain that Americans would be very grateful, I know probably all of us in this room would be, if Senator Warren would please put out a statement as to what are the priorities, what is he attacking first? Because, like I said, we can't get overwhelmed with all of this crap that's coming at us. Okay? So what is the structure? What is his plan? Because it's changed since he ran.
Sure.
Okay? So we need to know that. For your time. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
So, I'm just going to let them know they can come up.
You're going to go down and then come back up?
Yeah.
So we have somebody going downstairs?
Yeah. Yes, Melanie went down.
You guys are all going next. Who's coming up to Kaine?
We are.
You're going. So you're going up.
Yes, she's going down.
Awesome.
For my residency training, and then stayed here because my husband is in academic medicine.
Thank you.
And then
I was one. I'm retired.
How many people are there? And you guys are
Indivisible.
okay.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna move you down.
Can you tell me where? Because we got some other folks coming.
First floor. We're gonna go.
Coming in this room.
They've only got 5 people and they were scheduled.
Yeah,
So
We were
you-
scheduled too.
you guys?
Yeah, I know.
we were.
Hey,
With-
I called yesterday and
Okay.
said that I was going to be.
Oh, I think I talked to you on the phone. I just said come in anytime.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's me.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. Come on down. We'll all go down. Yeah. Grab a seat around the table.
That's a great sign.
You got a briefing there.
Yeah. You can come in. All right. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us. And quickly to introduce myself, my name is Mark Cheatham. I'm the Director of Casework and Consumer Services for Senator Kaine. I have worked for Senator Kaine since, I'm going to date myself now. I worked for Senator Kaine since he was Lieutenant Governor Kaine back in 2004. I want to say is when it started, so it's been over 20 years. I've worked with Senator Kaine, never had a real job, not joking, outside of this. So I'm really excited to be able to spend some time with you while you obviously present your issues and concerns. I quickly also want to introduce my colleague, Heath Hyatt, who is...
Heath Hubbard.
Oh, excuse me, Heath Hubbard.
Heath Hyatt.
Heath Hyatt, he wasn't Heath that worked here, but not him. Heath Hubbard, who is our lead immigration caseworker as well. Heath, I'm sorry.
I've been here just about a year and a half, so I don't have anything unmarked. 2004, I would have been 3 years old.
So now he's dating me. I was dating myself earlier. Let's all do that. I'm sorry.
You're all young to us.
That's all right.
Yes.
But I do, I think I spoke to you on the
Yes.
today.
Yes.
And, I work here all the time, so please
Great.
let me know what's on your mind.
Okay, so no surprise what's on our mind. I'm Jen Sturger. I'm from Goochland. We have folks here from all over, Newport News, Charlottesville, Goochland, Richmond. Yeah, and so we've all come together kind of in a moment's notice. We were going to start organizing this last night and making these signs. And it started out to be just about the vote. And so this is from Indivisible. And the vote was about vote no on vote, because he is the architect of Project 2025, as we all know. Project 2025 is about dismantling our government. And it goes around all the norms we have. We know that they could have done much of what they are doing within the constitutional framework. They're not. They're just destroying it. And so the politeness, even like, we love you guys. We love Kaine, we love Warner. But this is not a time to be polite anymore. This is a time to stand up. I keep saying get arrested. Speaking for myself, put your body on the end. Go eat barber. Get arrested. But to get out there and demand accountability. This is not something that happens in a democracy. You do not have some bozo from South Africa showing up at our treasury. Thank you. Showing up at our treasury, holding the keys and letting his 4 or 5 little young minions in there to take all of our financial information. That is bullshit. And so we need our leaders to stand up as we are. I mean, look at us. We are like all,
Grandmothers.
like older grandmothers, mothers. Here on a Tuesday afternoon to say we are behind our legislators. But we need you to go and stand up to these people. And we need them to be, getting into these buildings if need be. We do have, great lawyers working on these projects. And I know we have, a third of the people didn't vote in this country. And that is why another third were able to elect the people that they did. And they have the Supreme Court, they have the Senate, everything. But we still have us as a voice. There's still more of them than there are, more of us than there are of them, and we need to use that. And I said to Warner's office, I had a whole bunch of t-shirts to pick from, and I chose this one, which is about standing up and loving trans people. Because if we are not able to do 2 things at once, which is protect young trans kids in the face of school boards attacking them, and protect our democracy and this republic, then we don't deserve it. So we can't ignore this stuff. The way we treat our trans kids and adults is a reflection of how we are as Americans. And if we can't stand up for them, and if we can't, pound down these doors and do what's right, then we're not going to be able to get back what we lost when Trump was elected with all these goons. So we want Warner and Kaine to vote no on any nominee, anything this goon squad puts in front of them. No. Delay, block unanimous consent, max out debate time, delay and disrupt, and blanket opposition. The end, period. Nothing.
No cooperation.
No cooperation. None. Okay, I said my piece. These smart folks here have smarter things to say, so I'm gonna let folks kind of go around and say what they need to say.
I'm Dr. Susan Miller. I live here in Richmond. I've known Senator Kaine for a long time. My son went to school with his son at Maggie Walker.
Which one, Woody or Nat?
At,
Very nice.
and this is a coup. The senator needs to call it what it is. And Congress has to reassert its control of the purse, or they are complicit in the coup. I'm asking you not to confirm Russell vote, and I'm asking you to follow the rest of this delay tactic. They have to use all the congressional tools to slow everything up until the coup stops. Personally, I think Elon Musk and his team should be arrested for the largest data breach in U.S. history. It's all of our Social Security numbers, our Medicare, Medicaid information, personal data, financial data, and we're very clear about what their intent is because they wrote it all out in Project 2025, and we did not vote for that. Congress needs to restore the balance of power in our government, which is of the people, by the people, and for the people. And your constituents are being directly harmed by what's happened already. We need to defend the Constitution, no excuses. We have Senators Kaine and Warner's backs. They need to have our backs.
Something to what Jen said before about, we know that they're not going through the normal channels, instead they're just doing this shock and awe thing. We know why they're doing that. The reason they are doing that is because the Trump voters are a loose coalition of at least 8 disparate groups that, when you get down to it, have very opposing and different views about specifics. So they know if they had to go through the regular legislative process, there would be segments, there would be cohorts within that would oppose vehemently some of the things that are being proposed. So they don't want to see that happen. They don't want us to know that there are breaks in their coalition that are vulnerable and that represent people that do not want these things to happen. And that is how we get them, and that is the approach we need to take. Oh, I'm also here to speak up for science.
Yeah.
Science, and gotta have CDC, gotta have the NIH, gotta have.
You gotta watch out, we're gonna have a pandemic of avian.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a physician.
Yeah.
I am outraged that they took down the morbidity and mortality report, which I read every year as a primary care doctor, and that data disappeared. And if you know Caitlin Gentilina, who's the local epidemiologist, she has a good paper about all the data that's disappeared from public health organizations, and they are putting at risk the health of the American public, not to mention the global health. There's an Ebola outbreak in Africa. There's there's tuberculosis that's increased in Colorado. So
Avian flu, Marburg,
So they are jeopardizing our health, and as a physician, I cannot stand by.
we're really angry, and we just want our Democratic Congress people to stand up and be as angry as we are. Refute every lie. Don't let him get away with stuff. He's already done things that were unconstitutional. He's done illegal things. I know he's immune, and he's very happy to throw anybody below him under the bus. And of course, he'll pardon them. So this is a problem. We've got to fix this.
As a human rights advocate, my gut feeling and my opinion, and I think many people agree with me, that we are in a human rights crisis. Not only here in the United States, but across the world. And what I am very concerned about is that the state of, and I'm a very strong person, and I went to the doctor the other day because I was so stressed out and so nervous and so anxious. I can only, and I work a very, tough job. So what I'm concerned about is that the messaging that's getting out to the public, to the people that voted for Senator Kaine, People need to know that what is being done is illegal. The communication gets messed up, and people start believing and thinking that what Donald Trump is saying and his little minions, that this is fact, this is truth, just like his people believe it. We must get this information to the people so that they understand that these are lies. These are things that cannot be done. Donald Trump cannot fire these people. He cannot promise that he's going to give them packages and money, because this money is not a lot. Where is the money coming from? This is all a lie. This is all a scam. My fear is that underneath all that's going on and all that's being spewed out is that there's other workings going on, okay? And it's the taking of control. It's the control that he's taking over the minds of Americans. This is a very clever man, okay? He really is. He's stupid like a fox, okay? He knows exactly what he's doing. And he is running a scam on the American people. He is benefiting. Now he's talking about, with TikTok, how the United States is going to get involved to have a piece of that. Well, he's talking about himself to own a portion of TikTok. So these are the kind of things that come out of his mouth, that come out of his administration. Not only that, but everything that's been going on at the FBI, at the DOJ. People are confused. And for the first time yesterday, which is criminal with the U.S. aid, what has happened there. They can't do that. It's illegal, okay? But yet how is it that these people can walk in to an organization that we desperately need? We need soft democracy. And that's what U.S. aid does. We help people across this world so they understand that Americans are not selfish people. We care about the world, okay? But when we start, but this America only thing is what he's pressing and what he wants and what he's pushing through. So the communication to the American people so that our human rights, our rights to be able to get up and go to work and do the things that we do to make this world a better place, are being protected. What are they doing? I mean, what are the Democrats doing? Sitting back and just letting these people walk in and throw people out? I mean, where is the communication is not happening. So where are we at with that? Where are we going with that?
Are you asking a question?
Yes.
I'm trying to take the notes as soon as possible.
I'm just talking off the top of my head.
Again, deprogram the Trumpers, so they don't believe anything.
I don't care about
I'm not concerned about not only the Trumpers, but I'm concerned about us, about Democrats that are fearful. What is Civic going to do about that?
Well, I mean, look, I can't speak for the senator himself. I will say that he has obviously been very public against this administration. He worked tirelessly, as everyone probably in this room has, to make sure that he tried to ensure that the election went the other way. And I can tell you how many states he visited, how many events he did, how many, kind of sounding the alarm, sounding the horn prior to us getting to this point, which is obviously, I know it feels like an eternity, but it's only been basically less than a month. There's a lot that you guys that you're mentioning. That is obviously, they're aware of it on Capitol Hill, they're aware of it in Congress, they're aware of it on the Democratic side of the aisle as well. But at this point, like this young lady just said right beside me, there's also the mass influx of items and issues that the administration is doing all at one time. And so there's a little, I think you're exactly right about some of the coalition stuff, but there's also another reason why I believe the White House and Trump administration are doing what they're doing and how they're doing it. If you do 20 things, you're getting, like, just to be frank, we've got more calls in the last 48 hours about Elon Musk than we did about just about anything else up until this point. However, the Trump administration, has done 25, 50 type thing. So I think what they're doing is, if you do 35 things, you get an organization group that's mad. I'm writing the items down. There's 3 or 4 items that you mentioned. Well, that doesn't mention the other 27 items that they're doing.
But
Right?
just to get clear, the root cause, which is a takeover, unconstitutional takeover of government organizations.
I don't
And
disagree.
to your point, like, again, I made that sign last night, and since then, more things. We are not here about one issue. The only issue we're here about is the constitutional crisis, and that encompasses every last little piece of shit thing these people are doing.
So there's a couple things that, in regards to, and I'll circle back in regards to kind of, again, without trying to speak out of school, because I'm not on the communications team per se, but I think it's amazing, and I think it's very positive that you express to folks like Senator Kaine and Senator Warner that you obviously expect them, you want them to be accountable. Most of you, I'm not going to say for all of you, but most of you probably voted for them to get the positions that they're in. So you do want them to be accountable as well. I will say on our end, one of the things that I think helps Senator Kaine and Senator Warner and those is not only that you hold them accountable to let them know that they're supported when they do it. Because as much as we get these types of these meetings, our phones are flooded on the other side. We're flooded with angry calls about him not supporting PPAC staff as opposed to people that he's voted against.
No apologies.
No, I'm not saying that we're apologizing for it. He's very strong with statements, but I would say that there's twofold this. Make sure that they know, obviously, your concerns. When they do something that obviously you clearly disagree with, make sure that they're held accountable to those standards as well. When they do things that you do agree with, that's usually the rub that we don't hear. So they often feel, I can't speak for the senator, and I know when he goes around the state, he often gets, obviously he gets stern talking to, but he does get support as well. People, everywhere he's going, he's going to keep doing that. Those things mean more than you think. If there's organized efforts that also let them know, obviously, like I said, when you're wanting him to be held accountable or upset about a vote that he makes, we need to know that. We also need to know, there has to be that tell. When usually what happens is it's like a comment card at a restaurant, right? You get good service at a restaurant, you very, very rarely leave a comment card. When you get bad service at a restaurant, the first thing you want to do is let people know how upset you are. So I say that. The other thing I also will say is I would, at the most, at the least, you're 90% of the time Senator Warner, Senator Kaine. There might be, I would say that's pretty loose too. It's probably 95% of the time Senator Warner and Senator Kaine are probably exactly where you are on certain issues. So we appreciate hearing this, and I'm going to take it all back to the senator. Mike Henry's our chief of staff and our leadership team. But we also have to ensure that we are putting that accountability to the other side as well.
Yes.
And
That's what we need him to do.
no, not just him, but I think us as a collective. And what usually happens is there is a narrative that other Republicans are so far off, they're not going to listen to us anyway. So I want to put my pressure where I think it's going to be much more effective talking to our friends. That I'm just letting you know, I talked to a wonderful woman yesterday in Halifax County, and she said the exact same thing. No one in Halifax County is a Democrat. No one in Halifax County is going to listen to me. Well, if they don't voice your opinion in Halifax County or places that aren't necessarily friendly to us, they think it's okay. So if the collective idea is not to talk to the people that are opposed to us, not to write the letters to the governor of Virginia or the Republican part of this that you know is clearly obstructing your view, they're going to take the fact that they are not getting phone calls as complicity.
And I will say, I know it does seem like we kind of came and dumped. We have two, thank God, Democrat senators. If we had two Republicans, we'd be visiting them and screaming and yelling.
I don't.
But just so you know, and just so Senator Kaine knows, part of this mission is going out. John McGuire is my representative, sadly. His only office is in Lynchburg. I've got to go make an appointment to go out to see him in Lynchburg, and the governor, and talk to the governor. So it is, just so he knows, that we are calling the good guys and the bad guys.
That's really appreciative.
And when we do come in here, it does seem like we're saying, but you're not, but you're not, but you're not. We do appreciate it. I will say, it is hard to show that. I was calling here. I don't know what is wrong with the phone
Right, we talked about
voicemail.
this yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with the phones.
Okay, well, if you call and listen to you, it's like a crackling, like Tim Kaine is in a cave somewhere with his. I mean, it seriously, it is. Trying to get an email address to send is tough, so you have to get on the website to send an email. It's not clear. The direct line of communication is a little tough.
So that's a good point. So
Yeah.
if you go to the website right now and you click help with federal agency, there is a Kaine casework email right there, like a Gmail.
Okay, but if it says, tell me something, contact, the contact is right. I am just saying, you're saying what you want, I'm saying how to make that easier. If there's, social media pages where we can actually, go and visit and say, rah, 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 we're happy to do that. But there is a bit of a block. I live in Goochland County where a lot of people don't have internet.
Right.
And it is really, really hard for people to tell Senator Kaine how great he is.
So write this down. And then not even about how great it is, if you want to hold him accountable as well.
Exactly.
But it's Kaine casework at Gmail.
Amazing.
Kaine.city.gov.
It's Kaine _ casework.
Yep.
Kaine _ casework.
Great.
Casework.
Yeah, Kaine _ casework at kaine.senate.gov.
Yep.
That'll come to our office and we can disperse as need be.
Yep.
And so that's for anything?
Yeah, you can use that for anything.
And I'd like to add,
That's amazing.
I'm not an advocate typically,
Sure.
but, everything's been happening so fast and kind of thrown at us.
Yes.
So the treasury thing is just the straw that broke the camel's back. So I think that people have been like, whoa, well, what's happening? And they're finally saying something because now they see how dangerous it is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's always I think, to be honest with you, one of the roots of advocacy is always how it affects a person individually. Like Tim Kaine would have never ran for public office if he didn't get angry at the city council. He tells that story all the time. So, I mean, I understand where we are, but we also got to put in perspective exactly where we are. And like I said, I agree with you guys, and I think the senator agrees, and they are working through their caucus, organizing as much as possible. Senator Kaine went on Fox News on Sunday. He went on Fox News on Sunday to try to. That's an interesting thing too. And I see your hand up. I'll get to you as well. There's an interesting. Politicians can only do as much press, national press, as national press allows them to do. And so that's an interesting concept because a lot of people ask us why they see the same people on the talk shows all the time. Right. Well, if you're on CNN or MSNBC or even Fox, it's because those relationships and those legislators that have certain relationships with certain shows request those guys. And then we have to make a decision. It's not that Senator Kaine is overly turning down invitations to go on Rachel Maddow or CNN or so forth. It's who the Maddow show wants on those shows. So it's a really interesting balance. I didn't learn that. I was with Senator Kaine. I'm going to be right with you. I worked with Senator Kaine when he was chairman of the DNC. When we were chairman of the DNC, I guess that was 2010, we really got to look at how all of the media shows work. Meet the Press, Big Cities, because he was DNC chair. So everybody wanted him during the midterms and so forth. And you do understand that it's not necessarily, there's certain politicians today, Democratic and Republican, that will be on every CNN, MSNBC, Fox News show every hour they get.
I'd like to see Pete Buttigieg come back.
Well, that's the thing. It's certain shows will have them. They got to a point. I'm just going to be frank with you. It got to a point with the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, where they didn't even ask him to come on more conservative leaning shows anymore. They stopped asking.
Yeah, because he's too.
Well, yeah, obviously he's very talented, but that's also what happens as well. So again, I'm with you guys as much. I think Senator Kaine does do a lot of press as much as he can. I think he's doing Andrew Mitchell today.
Is he trying to do independent media?
I was just about to ask.
Media. There's Roland Martin. There's several people.
That is a great question. He does not turn down very much. I'm not going to say ever, but he has been obviously, given his background, he has been one that has been more. I would say, as a Democratic senator, has been a more Latino and African American press than most of his colleagues.
Yes, but here's the other thing. They can't also wait for them to reach out. It's okay for them to reach that way to say, we would love to come on your show and talk about these issues.
So I have an idea
I'm
about
sorry.
that.
I'll talk to you about it. I have a lot of information.
So, I'm the communications person. I do Facebook for the Louisa County Democrats, and I just told Senator Warner's office this. We would love to see the senators filming something or having a big Zoom meeting or filming something that we can directly share about what's going on with our social media, on our website, so that we can share that with our members who follow that way. And that would not rely on the networks inviting him. That would be his message to us Virginians who are very concerned about this.
No, it's a good idea. I'll be sure to do that.
I think that our representatives would do well giving us action items. People take for granted that every American knows what to do and how to work the system. They've gotten rid of civics in school a long time ago. So there's a lot of people, a lot of new young voters who do not know how to do things, and they're waiting for directives.
Sure.
The problem is they're waiting for it and they're looking for it on TikTok and on social, which is controlled by
and some of those guys are just frankly aren't on there yet.
Right, and so we have to give people directives. That would work wonders. If they know or they're thinking, like you said, why don't you guys push the other side? You may feel like that's a simple thing and everybody should know that. I'm not saying what people think. No. I think that was a perfect point. And I agree with that. But we cannot take for granted that everybody else thinks that way or understands it.
Been there before. This has never happened to us.
So be
leverage somehow or other, freeze something or other so that for the White House freeze confirmation until he calls off Elon Musk or gets rid of him in some way. Because he has huge power. He now has all our social security numbers and all kinds of security. So is there a way to leverage what power we have as Democrat representatives to pull him out of the system, or we can reposition him? I mean, I know it's not going to be easy.
At the
But
moment,
he'll trash anybody.
Yeah, but
Trump will trash anybody.
in time, and this is not political talk. This is just there's a school of thought that just from observation, that if they continue to give Elon Musk too much attention, the president will get jealous of him and he'll probably oust himself. But I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I also think there's a school of thought that says if you keep telling this particular president in the White House, you're needling this guy, we're not going to do it until he gets out, it may make him put his back against the wall and say, this guy's my guy, he's not going anywhere. So I think the answer to your question as best I can, which I don't know the answer.
I think Trump cares about how people feel about him. I mean, he may not seem to, but
depends on what people they are.
Now, but he does.
It depends on what people they are. If you look like me or somebody else, you may not care as much. Just letting you know.
Well, there's a lot of people in here that look like Trump.
Yeah, so,
I'm just saying.
But no, absolutely. And so,
Yeah.
you raise a good point. I mean, at this point, most of that stuff will be battled through the courts. I'm just going to be honest with you. Most of it's going to be battled through the courts.
He's giving him access to everything. He alone can.
No, I understand.
Just start fighting dirty. Use that playbook. I'm ready.
Well, if-
There's no way to stop that? I mean, what can be done?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying there's no way. I think that I think obviously civic action and obviously continuing to do what you're doing now and elevating it to a point where legislators are paying attention. Again, our legislators as well as the other side, if there's enough noise and concern about that, legislatively, it is nearly impossible because they have the votes.
Yeah.
And there's until you can pick off a handful of Republicans that will switch those votes. That's the question about kind of a unilateral action. Can they do anything in Congress? Everybody spoke out. They didn't get you Democratic votes to confirm.
I mean,
Trump pays nothing or no attention to the Constitution, so what makes you think if we have the majority, he's gonna pay attention then?
good point.
He will just do executive order after executive order. We gotta find a way to really
We're
stop those.
looking
I
to people
understand.
like Kaine, we're looking to Senator Kaine and Senator Warner to be leaders, to tell us that there is something, that what just happened was not legal. What just happened was not something that is done constitutionally.
Sure.
And we will need to look at that. That is something that if we don't have the legislators step up and start saying this, we're not going to be able to find ways to get through this.
We need to hire a big team of lawyers to fight for the Democrats.
There's a lot of
We certainly don't have an.
One was allowed to just do a legal thing. That's what I'm like.
Well, again,
Is that the new
well, let me say, look, there's this wave, and I want to make sure I've gotten everyone. I'll talk to you.
I have to leave, but I do.
Oh no! I'm gonna call you. We're gonna talk. All right. And speaking of which, I don't know how much time you guys have. This has been really helpful. Is there any, as we wrap up, is there any last
I
things?
just want to say one last thing.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm hearing from you is that, and I get it, is that we, the public, need to get out in the streets and start demonstrating against these things. That is, well, in Germany, Sunday, we're out in the streets marching, but the difference is that World War II was fought there. We haven't had that here. So how do we get people to understand that how we're on the cusp of something like that happening in this country? So how do we need to take this? This is what I'm hearing.
I will reiterate that I think civic action is something that is really, really critical and really important. And I think it's a critically important one for the community to voice their opinions on what they care about, which you guys are doing well. This alone is a part of civic action. I commend you all for coming in. We've also got to make sure, like you said, on the legislative side, they've got to make sure that they're organized. I think the sister that walked out their own action items are a great example of things that would be something that would be helpful in regards to, and again, I'm not saying that certain legislators or elected officials, members of Congress, members of the Senate aren't providing those. Some people may be providing those all the time. But I do think that having direction in regards to how to kind of capitalize on your collective action would be effective. I heard a little bit about communication as well. Obviously, you have the email to the office. You're welcome to call or email the office all the time, and I understand that the phones are not as the last 48 hours are not the most efficient way given the number of calls we're getting and some things with the voicemail. But please, feel free to continue to do that stuff as well. And
I think we come from small towns, but we can get permits to march in our own towns instead of going to Washington. At least it will get in the paper and people will see that we're concerned and we can be on the streets. We have to get a permit to do it. But it's been done in the past.
I think all civil action should start locally as best you can, and hopefully, because again, what some of the stuff that you're dealing with legislatively and elected official, these aren't things that just happened with this inauguration last month. These are things that filled school boards and filled, small town county administrator positions. Those are the guys that turn into your city councilmen, mayors, ultimately your congressmen.
And they're
Senators.
impacted, the Department of Education.
So yeah, all of these things are. I think collectively, once you guys continue to communicate and advocate and so forth, continue to let Senator Kaine, our staff, know as your concerns. I'll keep the board if you allow us to. But we also have to, kind of find ways to be effective. And again, some of that stuff is going to be legally, which is going to take a long time. Some of that stuff is going to be hopefully legislatively if we have the ability to do so. There are certain, someone mentioned the other day, even things like holds, not necessarily confirmation holds, but holds on appointees and holds on positions based off of certain things.
Hold everything.
But again,
I don't care if you don't pass the budget.
Well, again, they're all the caucus weighs all of these types of things, but there's certain things that we kind of hear in your mind. It's like, oh yes, old sounds great. I don't think any Democrats voted for Pete Hegseth, and he still got confirmed. So it's like you can't, unless you have the votes, you can't hold certain things. You can hold other things. There was, I think, one senator, correct me if I'm wrong, held up judges, like judge appointments forever until they, with an anonymous hold. It's some of the ways that the rules in the Senate work and procedures and so forth. So. Long story short, I'll stop talking. I do really appreciate your time. And like I said, where's the list of the names? I want to make sure I've got everybody's name that came in. You have it over here? Okay, so we'll take that. We'll make sure that the sign and the notes get up to the Senator Kaine's office. Again, if anyone needs to contact me, I don't have everybody's card, but give it to someone there, and feel free to contact me, and we'll be. Yeah.
Is this you?
That's me.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you very much for your time and for the feedback that you provided.
Thank you both.
In those action items, I think it would also be helpful if, like how you provided a contact for Kaine's office, that would work. If there's information to direct communication to the other side, to young from that, specific emails addresses that we can use to get to those folks.
Yeah, those are a little bit tougher. Because we work with our colleagues, and they'll be, they'll say, oh, we'll use the website or what form and so forth. And we've got
his office. I got straight through. I worked with Senator Kaine on the Beagle Freedom Project where we rescued all the beagles. So, and I got great responses and letters from Senator Kaine. So they do respond.
Well,
and so young, call his office.
Yeah. The other thing
get someone on the phone. That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, I really will. I appreciate you all. Thank you for taking the time. And again, if anybody needs my name, I've got only a couple cards left, but my name's on one and my phone number's on yours. Yeah, absolutely. We'd be able to do it.
Add your names to that list. So that
Okay,
senators
that's fine.
have
I'll check it out.
Oh, senators. I mean, we can.
Oh, yeah, it's
Much better.
I know, right?